Today we're going to be taking a look at a new shooter game, which is good for me because I need more shooter games in my life, having ditched Halo Infinite a month ago. So Prophecy Games, the developers of Tribes 3 Rivals, kindly gave me the game for free. They did this because they saw my YouTube channel, handed me a key through email, and I am not being sponsored. I'm not obligated to say anything nice about the game. There's a couple things nice that I will say, there's a couple things that are bad that I will say. This is my honest and overall review of the game in its early access release state. The first thing is pricing. The game is around $20 US, although I think there is a Steam sale for the game right now to get 10% off, so you can pick it up for like $17, which isn't too bad for a game, especially a AAA title. However, I will say that the gaming landscape is quickly changing, especially for shooter games. And I, along with many other content creators and now younger gamers, believe that if you release a player versus player shooter experience as a paid title in today's age, you're basically setting your game up to fail. And I still believe this. And it's very unfortunate because I want Tribes to succeed. I didn't really play the originals too much. I have played them, but not a lot. Like, genuinely, I can probably count the amount of hours I've played Tribes on my two hands, so less than 10 hours. But I've always wanted to, and that's why I've dove into Tribes 3. So I do think they are kind of shooting themselves in the foot by making it a paid title, because there's so many free-to-play alternatives in the world today. But if you can get past the barrier to entry, the actual gameplay is quite fun. I've played 5 matches, I enjoyed every single one. My first 3 I had to play with no sound, and I still enjoyed them. This is because the game has a weird bug with Bluetooth devices. However, Halo Infinite had the same one, so through speculation I thought, what if I repeat the same process I used to fix Halo Infinite's sound issues, and it fixed Tribes as well. So if you're having sound issues, you need to go to the control panel, and then you need to go to your Bluetooth headphones, and you just need to disable the hands-free telephony, and then maybe restart your PC, and it should fix any audio issues. The game's primary game mode is Capture the Flag, and it plays incredibly well. You're moving around at high speeds, gliding, sliding, flying, shooting. It's all very fast-paced, and it's very enjoyable. The guns are all projectile as far as I'm aware, and this has been a thing in Tribes since the beginning, and it is kind of hard to use some of the guns. You really have to predict where you're gonna shoot, or well, predict where the enemy is going to land, and having to lead your shots like this does make the game a bit more difficult to play, and maybe even a bit more difficult for some people to get into. However, when you do hit those shots, it feels much more rewarding than a standard shooter game would, so the trade-off is quite nice. But here's the bad thing. CTF is the only game mode, and from what I'm hearing online, there was more game modes in the playtest that they ran for this game. However, they removed the most popular one, and there's speculation or maybe even evidence that they plan to make that game mode an entirely separate game, which will also be a paid title. If this is true, it's an incredibly scummy move, and that puts a really bad taste in people's mouths. Speaking of bad taste in people's mouths, this game does a couple other things which I'd really prefer it didn't. However, I don't think it's going to change it anytime soon, and have definitely pushed some people away from the game. Having known these things before I launched the game, I probably wouldn't have bought it, but because I was given it for free, I obviously played, so just take this into account. So with the first thing this game does that is not liked or frowned upon, we're going to have to circle back to that pricing that I mentioned. So the game is $17, however the DLC for the game is higher than the game's core price. You can buy skins for your armor and weapons for a total price of around $70. I don't know the exact conversion, but in GBP it's $33.50. US dollar is a little bit higher, so I'm assuming it's around 70 for both weapons and armor packs that you can buy for the game. Now, microtransactions like this are one thing, and it's in all games, so I don't think many people would mind, really, if you were given all the items you just paid for as soon as you launch back up the game. However, you don't. You will pay, let's say you got the weapons pack, for example, you'll pay $33.50 if you live in the UK, and you'll get one skin for doing that, because you unlock them once per day. It's basically a login bonus. So you pay for something, and then you don't receive it unless you log into the game daily from that point onwards. So if you are, I don't know, on a business trip for a week, then yeah, you don't get your 7 skins for the day, because you can't log into the game, you're not home. So you know that money that you spent, yeah, it's just going down the drain. Or let's just say you're at home and you forget, you're playing other games, or you got other things going on and you forget to launch the game. And then you remember at, like, who knows, 5 minutes past midnight, and you're like, oh crap, I forgot to launch Tribes today. This is called FOMO, or fear of missing out. And it's an incredibly predatory tactic that I thought most people had abandoned in games now. However, it seems that some devs are still doing this, and I would just, at this point, prefer for there to be a big store in the game that has individual skins priced at like $5 or $6 each, but they stay in there permanently, so there's no fear of missing out, and you can buy them at any time if you deem it, you know, appropriate, and you think there's value there, rather than feeling like I have to get this and I have to log in every single day. By the way, it's not just logging in, you have to play too. I should have clarified that. You actually have to play a match to get the bonus, not just log in. You gotta log in and then play. I believe you may even have to win. So if you have a terrible first 3 games and you don't win until your 4th, you might have to play 35 minutes of the game just to unlock the skin that you paid for. So a lot of people don't like this. It basically forces you to only play Tribes, pretty much. If you're a casual gamer that only gets 1 hour of gaming in your day, this is a tactic which forces you to only play Tribes, and it's used so that their concurrent player counts and their daily peaks of gamers is as high as it possibly can be. However, it's such a deterrent that many people won't play in the first place, so it just counteracts its whole purpose. So, yeah, although the gameplay is fun, I want the game to succeed, I have to point this one out because it's such a major thing, and I have to call out developers, or in this case probably publishers, on their BS. The second thing is a third-party application that the game uses called Denuvo, which is an anti-cheat and an anti-tamper. There is also a DRM, however I believe this game doesn't use that, it just uses the anti-cheat and anti-tamper, but it's known to reduce your FPS significantly. Proof of this, in quotation marks, speculation, or what some players' assumption is that it is activated as soon as a match started, and therefore your FPS is basically sliced in half. So in the pre-match lobby, you can see that your FPS might be 180, for example, and then as soon as the match starts and you play against real players, that FPS can go all the way down to 90. So if you're a gamer on a medium, spec machine, and you're getting, I don't know, 110 FPS in the pre-game lobby, you might barely be reaching 60 by the time you actually get into the match and play for real, which is a big problem. Now, I can understand having this for the reason of, protecting your game and not having cheaters and things like that. However, there are alternatives that, albeit aren't as good, such as easy anti-cheat. However, they wouldn't have these performance impact issues, and the player count on this game is so low that there doesn't even need to be a completely automated anti-cheat that is banning players. It could even just be done manually by the devs. If a cheater is spotted, the devs could just manually ban the player, and they might only exist for 1 day of playing or something. If the player is reported that much, then just ban them manually. Or if you are going to use anti-cheat, like I said, just go with another option. There's tons out there. I said easy anti-cheat, SAD, BattleEye, NProtect, Valve, Equate. There's so many that you could use. So in summary, I would word this, if I had to do it in less than like 20 words, I would say the gameplay is good, but the practices are bad. So these are things that can be fixed. It's not incredibly game-breaking bugs or issues with the core gameplay loop that need a complete redesign of the game, a complete overhaul to fix. It's just they need to start removing some things and adding others. Many players wanting like an in-game text chat, this can be done pretty easily. I mean, there's third-party applications to do this that you could implement in like 1 week. A switch of anti-cheat to improve the performance and things like that. And also the bad practices regarding your monetization. As a game dev myself, I can understand why some of these things were done, and I assume that a lot of them were enforced by the publishing side. Publishers really don't want to publish or fund free-to-play shooter titles in any way. They just stay very clear of them because they don't understand them, and they can't estimate how much revenue they will make. So, in order to get funding for your project, you often have to make it a paid title, and then publishers will be very happy to do business with you. I myself have been in multiple publisher meetings and had them say they outright won't even discuss free-to-play titles simply because they don't, they can't estimate how much money they'll make. They don't know if you will sell $20 of skins to one player or $200 of skins to one player. You just can't estimate it. The reality is that a free-to-play game could come out and it could go bankrupt in a month because nobody buys any of the cosmetics, but everyone's playing the game for 12 hours per day, so the cost of running the servers is incredibly high and the company is just losing money. So there's some good things, many bad things, and hopefully they can turn it around. The initial reviews for the game on Steam did reflect this. It was at about a 46% rating. I believe now it's about 70, or maybe like 71, I'll have to check. But yeah, it's steadily climbing, it's getting better. I want it to keep that trajectory, so hopefully they do the right thing and they don't just abandon it because, Hi-Rez has a a history of just abandoning games to go and work on their other titles, such as Smite. So yeah, thanks for watching this one. Might have been a bit rambly for the final 2 minutes, and I'll see you in future videos. I probably will do a Tribes video again, in the future when it gets better. Maybe we'll do like a Tribes, how's it going after the first month or something, and see how many players there are, see if they did any updates, things like that. But I probably won't be playing too much of the game in my own spare time for the time being. So, until next time, thank you for watching, and goodbye. Really quick, I know I just said goodbye, but I did mention that I'm a game developer in this video. To quickly give myself a little bit of a plug, that game is called Cross Planet. You can wishlist it on Steam, and we also do playtests for our game every single month. So if you're interested in playing a third-person arena shooter that takes inspiration from games such as Halo, Star Wars Battlefront, Quake, Unreal Tournament, and more, just go to Steam and wishlist Cross Planet. Thank you very much.